whatever. Alright. So, you're going to pretend that you've traveled to Spain. And so this is during the Inquisition. This is not modern day Spain. Alright, so we are not talking about modern day Spain. We're talking about back in the day. Alright. So you're going to be pretending you're there and you're going to write a mini letter, postcard, home. And you're either going to tell a relative, a friend, a pet. You can write Davos. You can write to your pet rock. You can write to your sandwich. I don't care. It's going to be dear something. All right. A lot of people don't use postcards anymore. They just use email or, text or whatever, even if they're on vacation. But they used to be used before. Basically, technology. So writing letters, and anywhere you can still find them when you travel, especially in like airports. There'll be a stand and it will have a picture on the front, and then on the back you have like a little bit where you can write. And here I've got a Google Slides that shows some real postcards, so you can kind of see what I'm talking about. So this is the front of them. So this is 1, 2, and 3. So here we've got and they're all Spain related. So this is in Madrid, Spain, famous for their bullfighting. This magnificent bullfighting, and this is the plaza where they do. It has like the stadium, so they'll do the bullfighting here. And here's another simplified version. Here is one of Barcelona, Spain. It says many greetings from Barcelona, and it has like 4 different tourist attraction kind of sites. Now the back looks like this. So you kind of have this divide, and on the right side you do like whoever you're writing to and a fake address. And normally a stamp goes here. That's so the post office will deliver it. This one was not really a stamp. This is like a rubber stamp kind of thing. So on this side, you put who you're writing to. Then on the left side is where you write your kind of little letter. So this is more a real, actual written one. This is, I think, to show like what you should do essentially. All right. So I'm going to go through the paper version first. I do not mind if you read ahead on this. Just make sure that you read all the directions. All right, so paper version. Up here it also says traceable images at the very bottom of this assignment. So these are going to be this very last Google image down here. Google Slides, down here. All right, so you want to use either a piece of computer paper, fold it in half, so you have like a front and a back. Well, you'd have a back anyway, I guess, but fold it in half so it's a smaller size. You can use a large index card. That's how we used to do it because it was more like an actual postcard, but then you would have to freehand draw. You're not going to be able to trace. So that's more for if you are an artiste, I guess. So what I did, I taped a piece of computer paper to my screen so it wouldn't move. So there's my tape. Then here, my handwriting is actually pretty terrible. If I concentrate, I can make it decent, but in general, it sucks. So what I did was I opened up a Google Doc and I actually traced the font in here. So I went in here and I like typed "Welcome to Spain." And then I made this way bigger. And then I changed the font to something I thought was more interesting, I guess. I used this one, Jacques Francois Shadow. That's the one I used, but you can use whatever. I would try to stick to something that is thin. Like I would avoid Like this one actually, like how thick these black lines are, it's going to be difficult to trace. Doesn't seem like it, but it will. Let's see. So the thinner it is, kind of the better. I am not going to be that impressed with Arial and Calibri. I will tell you that right now. This one might be good, so yeah. So you just put your paper up to there, trace it, and now your handwriting is not going to look like trash. So that's how I did mine in here. And because there was a gap, I ended up coloring this in. So I colored it in red. If it's doesn't have a gap, you can just kind of leave it. And I put my catchy phrase, where you better be Catholic, or else. I really avoid Sharpies, chunky Sharpies. They will bleed together. It will turn into a mess very quickly. I used a black pen to outline instead. The next thing I did was I found a picture that I could trace something simple. You want to avoid realistic pictures because it's very difficult unless you are really good at tracing to block out a lot of the details that will make your picture simpler. Otherwise, you will be sitting here for a month and you don't have a month. Make sure that you do not press down hard on this screen. Do not break the computer. All right. You do it lightly, and then afterwards you fix the lines and make them solid. So I traced this guy, and then I ended up tracing this with pen. You don't have to. You could darken it just with pencil. And let's see. I let the ink dry, and then I erased the pencil because it will look better. But you need to make sure the ink dries, otherwise it'll be a streaky mess. And then I just started coloring it. This version was incomplete. I would have colored the hat red and the rest of this. On the back, this is where you do your writing part. And I do have the full prompt, but so this is where I did mine. You can see my handwriting already is kind of special, and I actually was kind of focused here. Dear Davos, I'm writing to you from Spain. They are having Inquisition here, and Inquisition is, and this is where you should enter the definition of Inquisition. You're trying to gain a blank from Heretic. A Heretic is blank. We are going to watch a video that's going to go over 2 torture devices. We'll probably do that tomorrow. Really today, if you can focus on doing the picture, then that would be good, and we can do this a little bit later. And over here I put my fake address, Davos Mulligan and stuff, and then I made a little stamp. This is the very, very simplified version of the Spanish flag. And if I click one more time, here's the actual prompt. So, dear, and then you fill in the name. I'm writing to you from Spain. They're having an Inquisition here, and Inquisition is the place where you get the answers to this. And like I said when we did the notes, do not use Google. Don't do it. You need to use your notes. If you haven't done the notes, you need to do those so that you can get the answers. There's the notes. Yeah, Caden, that's good. Oops, I said I wasn't going to say your name and I did it anyway. Shame on me. Need to start just typing the answer. So your answers should end up being in here. So in an Inquisition, there would be, and it's really this part, a blank in which the blank would try a person they believe to be a blank. Now, you should have this filled in already. So you just have to copy this part. The other one you need to do is what are heretics? So this definition, and then the other one you need is the goal one here. The first one, the Inquisitor's job was to gain a blank from the accused. So that's where this comes from. All right. So this is where that information comes from. All right. So this is that version. Like I said, traceable images. So if I go all the way to the bottom, I didn't want to make it too long to get to the digital one. So you might have to zoom in and out to get these to be the right size. Here I made an interrogation chair and simplified it so you would not have to trace a million spikes. This was actually a giant pain to do. Here I traced a more complicated drawing and tried to simplify it so that if you trace this, you don't have as many lines to worry about and ignore. So this is the strappato. This is one of the torture devices, and the iron chair, the interrogation chair, is another one, and that's the one we're going to watch the videos on. These next ones are some Google images. I know a lot of times, especially if you're using, the hotspot or a school device, it'll start blocking images that it thinks are, bad. So I went ahead and hunted down some that I tried to find that were simple and relevant. So here I have some more Spanish Inquisitors. So I got that guy freaking out. Here, you don't have to draw all three of these. You could just do this guy in the middle, or that guy over there, or you can do them all. I don't know. I've got some more here, so one guy here. And here again, you can do them all, or you can just do like the middle. Then I've got like 2 cathedrals, Catholic cathedrals. And then I have 2 General Spain images. You can look up your own. Be careful when you put in Spanish Inquisition, especially if you put in torture devices. You might find some stuff that is, definite. You'll be like, oh yeah, that's definitely torture. So that's the paper version. Now, if you want to do the digital version, you scroll to where it says digital version of Postcard. And the first thing you're going to do is you're going to click here on this link underneath. Click here to get to the Google Slides template and instructions for the digital version. So you're going to do that. And I do have the instructions in here too. Now, once you're in here, you're going to do, as we usually do, you're going to click File. You're going to click Make a Copy, Entire Presentation, and change Copy of to your name. Put Mulligan. And click OK. So this is our starting point. At the end, I would delete the instruction slide. So you only have this. This is slide 2 is where your image is going to go. And slide 3 is where the prompt is. So in here, you would just type it. I already put a stamp in, so at least that's done. But you'd put a fake street address there. All right. And again, today, I'd really like you to focus on actually the image. But if you're ahead, that's totally fine. All right, back to here. There are underneath here, I've got some videos to create shapes and word art. They don't have audio, so you'd have to pay attention to what's going on. This is how to actually create pictures from pre-existing pictures, like I called it digital tracing. Again, they also don't have audio. So these are really like you have to pay attention and do what's happening. All right, I also have these examples of digital postcards. This is the front. So this is one that I made. Welcome to Spain, and it's got a cathedral. And I'm going to show you how to make a Cathedral. And here's my catchy phrase, where if you aren't Catholic, we've got some questions for you. And here are 2 student examples. They didn't put the catchy phrase, which is disappointing, but in general, you know. And here, these 2 students did torture devices. So this is that other one that I drew, the strappado, where the arms are behind their back and a rope is attached and they pull on it, so it pulls on your arms like backwards. And it can dislocate your arms, your like arms from your shoulders. And this person put, where we advise you to change your religion. And here again, welcome to Spain. Those who are not Catholic can and will be questioned or tortured. And again, so they're making images. We are not taking an image from Google and just pasting it in there. Because I need you to I need effort in this. And yeah, the other one is too easy. And yeah. I do have in here links to 2 of the torture devices so that you could see them. And I specify which paragraph you should focus on. So this is the first paragraph. So this is the strappado. And in here, the strappado, also known as the, whatever, you don't need to put that, is a form of torture wherein the victim's hands are tied behind their back and suspended by a rope attached to the wrist, typically resulting in dislocated shoulders. You can kind of see another image there. All right, so that's there as well for you to use. All right, so that's the in general instructions for this. So now I'm gonna show you how to make some of these images in here. All right, and how to do the title and whatnot. So the first thing I'm gonna do is obviously the title. I'm gonna find the box that has the T in it and click on that, and then I just normally just click in here and I'll drag my box all the way to the end so that everything ends up kind of symmetrical, unless you don't want it to be symmetrical, and then I guess it's whatever. Now I'm going to type, so the title is that welcome or whatever. You can put welcome to Spain, or you can put like Spain 1700s, something like that. I'm going to make it gigantic. All right. One thing that font that I've been liking is this Nocifer font. If you want to use this, if you don't have it in here by default, then you can click font and click on more fonts at the top. And this is with any font really. There's more in here, so you can find other like fonts. And up here in that search bar, you just type Nocifer, and you just click it and then hit OK. I'm gonna type it in the chat in case you want to look that up. And I'm gonna change this to red. Oh, I guess I'm just gonna change the cursor to red. Let's try that again. Red. Spain's colors are red and gold. So I'm gonna actually change the background. So I just right clicked and click change background, and I'm just gonna use like a dark yellow, like that. And now I need my catchy phrase. So I'm going to go to my little text box and click. So I put that in there. This is there so you can kind of start describing kind of what was going on at the time. And the other one I've been using is Creepster. So the first one well, hang on, I'll show you the two things I did for the previous classes. The one I showed first was this one, Welcome to Spain, where if you aren't Catholic, we have some questions for you. And I made two people, made a little peasant guy, and then this Cardinal. And we heard you were not really Catholic. Come with me. This is an extra thing. And then I ended up making this Cathedral, and these all went pretty fast. So I would say. So as you can see, this is not, crazy detailed. At the same time, it's not like it looks put together. It's not like some junky stick figure. It's not like, oh, let me click here and, put a circle and then I got my line and I'm like, ooh, okay, woo, there's the body. And then I got some legs. Like, like it's not like that. Because that is too special for me in a not good way. All right. So those are the two things I'm going to go over. If you have any questions, you can put them in the chat. And depending on if I think it's good for everybody to know, I might answer it verbally, or I might just answer in the chat. If you need me to do any of these things again, I can totally do that. So if I start making this and then you're like, how do you make the face again? How do you change the color again? You can just put that in. So you can just put that in the chat and then I can go over it again. I do not mind at all. Because a lot of people, this is not something you've been asked to do. Most people. Okay. So I'm going to show you how to do the little people first. So the first thing we're going to do, some of you know how to insert shape. Some do not. Up here, you've got all your stuff. You've got your tools. Plus, back, whatever. What you want to look for is the circle and the square. And you're going to click on that. And then go to shapes. And I'm going to start with a circle. I'm going to click on the circle. And I'm just going to make a circle. You can make an oval too. You do not want to make this too small. Do not make your person like that. That's microscopic. You will not fill the page and it'll look kind of sad. So I made the circle first. And then what I've been using for the body is I go back into shapes and it is actually all the way on the right here. It looks like a D. It's a line and then this is more curved. You can also probably use this guy here. So you could probably use this guy and this line that sticks out, that's how you rotate it. What I've been using though is this one over here. I rotate it. And then I'm going to take this and I'm going to put it under the head. Now its head is gigantic, so I got to adjust the body so it's, well, Now the body, no, that looks right. It almost looks more like a push pin, like a thumbtack or something. He's wearing a robe. So I don't have to do all this mess again. I'm gonna click on the circle. I'm gonna hit Control C and Control V and just do the circle so it's similar. Well, no, it'll be the same size, right? And Control C and Control V on the body. And then put it in line again. So to get the details of the face, if I wanted to, it would suck because I've tried it to make eyes and mouth at this far out. So what I normally do is I go to this magnifying glass over here to zoom and I will increase it to 200. And now it's easier to do the details. So I'm zoomed in, I'm going to go back to shape and I'm going to go to circle and do this. This is going to be my eyeball. And I'm going to fill it up here. This bucket is what fills it. So black, and then the pencil part, this is the border, so I'm going to do black, otherwise it looks weird. And right away, I'm going to hit Control C and Control V, so I have a second one that I can drag over to this guy. If you make the eyeball too small, then it's going to be, so if I make this too small, it's going to be difficult to like move it. Like I will have to slowly kind of move it around. As you can see, it just sideways. None of this is to where I can move it. It'll just make it bigger. So, and you can always shrink it once it's inside like the head. Now, what I did, I gave them mouths. This one is going to be my Cardinal, so I'm going to make him kind of yelling. So I'm going to click on shapes again, and this time I'm going to use the circle to make more of an oval. And I'm going to drag this kind of there. And then I'm going to fill it with black. You can fill it with, if you want it to look more like, like a mouth, you can make it more realistic looking if you want to. Now this guy, he's going to be frowning. Now for me to make the frown, I'm just going to click over here where you see the line. Like, so you've got shapes and then you've got line. And you can, if you click here, no, I wouldn't use any of that stuff. Like, unless you know what you're doing. So if I go over here, I see all these like little purple dots and they are actually super annoying. So I am going to do my line like here and I'm going to drag it over. And I'm going to change to black. I don't know why everything gets into this dark gray. I don't like it. Actually, I'm going to change all of these to be outlined in black too. I don't hate it. Ugh. I don't know why it bothers me, but it does. It bothers me. And his mouth is kind of sticking out, so yeah, that's fine. And then I want some eyebrows. So this guy will look mad. So I'm going to use the line again and draw it downward and drag it again over his eye like that. And again, I'm going to change the light. If you like gray, you can leave it gray, but it drives me bananas. And this guy, I'm going to have him look concerned. So I'm going to make the line kind of the same way I did the mouth. Going up like that. And change that to black. And so that's how you end up with, eyeballs. Some people will, I didn't tell this to other people, but I guess I can say it here. Will want to make like hair. Not this guy. This guy's going to wear a hat. If you are super interested in hair, you can go in here and start kind of fiddling with it. I've seen a lot of people, we've used clouds. Oh, he looks like Martin Luther. So you make a cloud and then you fill it. Let's use this junky brown. You fill it. And it's helpful if you make the border the same color. and then you make another cloud, and then you like turn it, and you stack the clouds on top of each other. Boom! He's got hair. Alright, so now I'm going to zoom out so I can do the rest of this. So this is going to be my Cardinal, so I'm going to put him in red. So I'm going to use this bucket again, and I'm going to click on red. This is still my peasant guy, so I'm going to put him in just brown. I'm going to use it under the orange, just that brown. Now, one of the harder parts is the face color, the hair. The hair I just used a cloud, so I go to shapes, and over, it should be near the crescent moon, there's a cloud, and I just like made the cloud and then just tilted the cloud, right? He's about to have some crazy hair. And then I just filled it with the brown, and then I also, over on the pencil, I also filled that with the same color so that it blends in. Now it looks like a chick with a giant bun. But I basically stacked the clouds. Alright. The face color is probably the one people have trouble with. So to get that, you click on the circle, and honestly, there's not a very good fill color for this. So what I normally do is go to custom, and the best place to get like a kind of flesh tones is by dragging this into like an orange or orange yellow. In Spain, they would have been white, probably with a little bit of a tan, darker tanned color, tan complexion. Hang on, am I doing the Cardinal? I'm gonna make him a little bit lighter because he's gonna have spent most of his time inside because he's Cardinal. Peasant guy, he'll have been outside. He got some sun. So I click on the bucket again, custom, move this over to like more orange. This guy's gonna have a tan. Boom. That's deep tan. Hair should probably be black. Talking Spain. Alright, there we go. Alright. Next thing I did was add that cross. There isn't really a shape for that. There is like a plus sign, but it is not, it's too symmetrical really. So what I did was I clicked on line, like I did for the eyebrows and the mouth and whatever, and I just went in here and I did a line straight down. And then I changed the color of that. I changed it to yellow. You could do white or silver or something, but yellow. And then the more important part is next to the color, there's the line weight, and I made it to, I think, 3 or 4. So if I click out of it, you can see that it's a thicker line. And then I took another line and I did it across. And if you're worried about this being uneven, then you can click on that line, and if you move it, then it will put a red line across that tells you if it's at the center. So again, I changed this, not to red, we're changing it to gold. And then to, I guess, 4. And that's how I ended up with a cross. So it was just 2 lines and making them thicker. Now, no Cardinal is complete unless he has a goofy pointed hat. So I go into my shapes again. There's a few you can use. I've been using, let's see. I used this guy. So shapes, I went down. It's near the bottom, second line from the bottom. Right here, it's called Flowchart Off-Page Connector, I guess. And I just made that, and then I turned it. And then I, sized it. And I'm going to fill it with red. Change my line black. And now I've got my Cardinal with a goofy hat. So question was how to make the line thicker. So you do want to click on the line. And up here, so you've got your line, you've got the color. It's the one you want is where it's a thick line. They're all horizontal. Thick line, then a little thinner, then very thin. And if you click on that, it'll say like 1 pixel, 2 pixel, 3 pixel, 4 pixel. And so the smaller numbers are thinner and larger are thicker. So if it hits 16, boom, super thick. And what you go for really depends on the size of what you're doing, right? So there's no specific size, but I would not use just one because it makes tiny, tiny cross. If you do want to add a kind of a thought bubble thing, you go to shape again, but you're going to go to callouts. And this gives you the little bubbles are down here. So I just normally just click and put it to the side, and you see the little yellow thing, and that's what you're going to drag. This is not a requirement. You do not have to put a bubble in here. So that is one. The other thing I'm going to kind of do is make a little cathedral. Did anybody want me to repeat any of this stuff in here? This will be on a video, so you can look at it and skip through. I'll put some timestamps in the description so you can jump to the people part or the cathedral part or whatever. Alright, so this is one type. Now I'm going to do another one that's kind of a cathedral. So hang on, I'm going to do my words first. Go to Spain. And because cathedrals are tall, I'm going to stick this over in the corner. And let's see. So I put in here, comes to your beautiful Catholic cathedrals, which is kind of like a subtle way of, hey, this is the important thing you need to focus on. Nice and judgmental. Also, I don't know if I said this, but I can read cursive, so even if you type it in here and you're like, but this is pretty, then you can, put it in whatever, and I can read it. Ugh. This is too swirly. Just do. No, that's still ugly. I'm just gonna. Okay, let me just go with a regular thing. There we go. Alright, that way we can move on. Okay.
Mulligan, a good font for that is what's it called? New Rocker, I think it's called.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Do for this one, maybe. There we go. Now Spain is serious. Spain is not playing around. Okay, so for this, you're gonna be using a lot of rectangles and squares. All right, the thing about cathedrals are they are tall, they are detailed. This is not going to be a simple church. I'm gonna simplify it enough so it's not too insane, but like, let me look one up. So, Spanish cathedral. So if I go here, image, like, this is what we're talking about. Okay? We are not talking about some little rinky dink church. Alright? They're big, they're detailed, and if you can ever go and see one of these, you should. They are super, super cool to see on the inside, to see in person. Like, I don't care what religion you are, they're cool to visit. Architecturally, they're just super interesting. So you can see how intricate that is. Now we're going to simplify it in here, but at the same time trying to make it a cathedral and not just your basic church. So I'm going to click on shape. And hang on, here's what I did in the other class. So I made this. So this is what our goal kind of is. Now, if you make a cathedral, it can be different. It doesn't need to look like exactly like this. You know, it can have different points, but part of the idea is tall, 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 right? Because those images were tall. So I am going to, so I might make this one a little bit different. So I'm going to click on shapes again, and I am going to take a square. I think I'm going to let me make this middle part, like, I'll make this super tall. And then I am, maybe not that tall, maybe a little shorter, because I want my cross at the top. Okay. Then I'm gonna do, actually, I'm gonna use an arrow this time. So I'm gonna go to the arrows. And there is one, where is it? Use an up arrow. Let me see. Now I'm gonna stick this on top. Okay, I'll just put the cross in it. And if you open any shapes and they have these yellow things, you can look at them and move them because they will change the shape. All right, so I added that. Then I'm going to do another square thing. And normally cathedrals have a symmetrical look to them, so a lot of Control C, Control V. All right, and then let's do a couple more. I'm gonna use some different shapes. I'm gonna use this guy. This is the one I used for his hat. It's called Flowchart Off Page Connector. It has a point at the bottom, like this. But then I'm gonna rotate it so the point is at the top. Boom. And put it right there. And copy it, put it on the other side. I'm gonna do a few arrows, maybe ish. It is probably time to go for those who are in the classroom. I am going to record this a little bit longer so that this is finished, but these right here, this shape,
The ones on the far left.
these,
Yeah.
yeah, this is the same as these. So you go into up here shapes, right? And in here, it's down near the bottom, like, and the point goes towards, it points towards the bottom, and it's called, what is it called? Flowchart Off Page Connector. It's next to the circle down here at the bottom. And then when you put it in, you'll have to rotate it because it'll go in like upside down, I think, like that. So you just rotate it. Maybe I want them to look more triangular, looking more like a castle. If anybody needs to leave, you can. It is almost 3 o'clock. We will be working on this tomorrow. This is not for homework.
Yeah, Miss Mulligan, for the things you put on top of those big squares, you could put like some sort of triangle like that. Yeah, never mind.
Like this.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what I was thinking. I wanted to make it like that other, like the picture of that other cathedral. A little bit. I don't want it, I'm not gonna sit here and make it too complicated.
Yeah.
I'll put that there. And then but you guys can be creative with this, and play around with it, and I definitely would like to see some inventive stuff or the same thing. Either way, My big thing is going to be I want to make some of these stained glass windows, especially for this video. I'm going to make this wider. All right, so for stained glass window, I'm going to pick a shape. I'm going to do the pointy one again. And rotate it. And now I'm going to click the bucket. And I am going to click gradient instead of solid. And then I'm going to click on custom. And it highlights the square here. And I'm going to pick a color. Let's do red. And then I'm going to click on the other square and pick a different color. And if I want another color, I'm going to just click add. And this one you can move to change where the gradient is. Fan of some of this. You can change the angle here, and that will change this kind of direction, and you can just play with that and see what you like the best. And then you just hit OK, and boom, there it is. And then for any windows, you can just copy and paste. And the key is going to be just lining these up so it looks symmetrical. The last thing I'm going to go over, because a lot of this is just continuing on with making windows like this. Well, let me change. Yeah, that looks okay. Is doing the door. All I'm going to do is go back into shapes again, and I am going to go with, I think I'm going to use the same shape. The other one I've used has been this rounded one, but I am liking this kind of pointed looking one. You do probably want to make the door kind of small so that everything else looks way bigger. And I will make it that lighter brown color. Again, black. And then if you want to make it look like a double door, you just add a line and you go from this dot to this dot. And change that to black. And pretty much that, you just continue with this and then you'll end up with a cathedral.